So welcome to satsang. Just a reminder that satsang is a place of peace and beauty, place of love and tranquility. Please let me know if my voice is too low. Yeah, just don't hesitate to write me a note in the chat box or make some noise about that. So in satsang, we basically release all the images, ideas, notions we have about ourselves and about others. So that we can be more at peace. Because peace and tranquility is a very, very beautiful, very lovely way of being, a very lovely place of being. Usually during the day there is a habitual train of thoughts and concerns and memories that keep strolling, and it's not very peaceful, because in the images that are unfolding, there is a me as a person that is separate from the world. It's an imagined separation. But this imagined separation is sort of lived, it's felt. And bodily feelings, bodily sensations are very intimate, they're very close to us. And so it's really easy when we are living from the impression that I'm a man or a woman living in the world. It's very easy to feel threatened and to experience a personal sense of disequilibrium. From that perspective, the impression is that of being very isolated, and at times feeling helpless. So in the contemplation, we go to our experience, and our experience is always this very moment, this present moment. And in contemplating our experience in this present moment, the mind comes to rest. The mind comes to rest because the mind's tendency is to operate in time, to operate in thought. But when you come to the present moment, meaning when you come to presence, you enter the timeless. And in the timeless, there are no personal thoughts, there is no time, there is no activity that is progressing in time. There is no person that is progressing in time or regressing in time. So the contemplation is to come to presence. Coming to presence means noticing the presence that is. Because there is no one that really comes to presence, it's just a way of speaking. Presence is the reality. It is not made out of things. It's not made out of objects. It is the essence of the mind. So the essence of the mind is presence. And this presence is not personal, meaning it is not limited to any specific body-mind. It is not limited to anything. It is completely limitless. So presence is also stillness. Stillness meaning peace, emptiness. It's an emptiness that is whole, a wholeness. It's a whole emptiness. W-H-O-L-E, a wholesome emptiness. It is the reality of all seeming worlds, bodies and minds is the emptiness, the stillness, the peace. So the revelation of the self results from your contemplation and from your love for truth. Through your contemplation and your love, the self reveals itself. The self is revealed. And this revelation dissolves all personal impressions. It dissolves all angst, all sense of personal incompleteness. From the point of view of ignorance, meaning being totally ignorant of your true nature, being in the darkness about what the reality is. So ignorance is like the darkness. From the point of view of ignorance, the imagined world, body, mind are real. And consciousness meaning that hears these words right now, that truly hears these words right now, is conceptual. It's a concept. It's not the reality. The reality is imagined to be in the world, body, mind. But as you contemplate the reality of your experience, you come to realize that it's the other way around. It is consciousness that is real. And the world, body, mind are its dream, your dream. Because what you truly are is consciousness, is awareness, beingness, intelligence, love. If there are any questions, anything that you would like to look into.
Hello, Magdi.
Hello, Gonzalo.
You hear me well?
Yes, I hear you very well, Gonzalo.
Okay. This, what you talk about, the contemplation, I can relate to, I can sense that those words are coming from, not from the mind, not from an explanation, not from a intellectual understanding. And my question is like in that description, because it's a description more than anything of living there, living in no division, living in no separation, living in the peace of yourself. Do you really think, believe that just because we who are not there, I'm using who or we or whatever in the usual sense, understanding that this is not who we really are because it's intellectually I understand consciousness is everything. But don't you think that more than a description of that, we need some practice? I mean, when you talk about contemplation, is contemplation really a practice, or is just in the moment a way of having a conversation about something that is beyond the mind, and then after the after the satsang finishes, everybody goes their way in their usual, the usual mind identification, ego identification. It doesn't seem like your description could have really go in, changed the perspective of of reality or whatever. So don't we just need a kind of a very specific practice on Harako or ways of practicing to direct the attention beyond what we feel and think we are? This is my question.
Yeah, yeah, okay, Gonzalo, I hear your question. Um, no one can make you love the truth or love tennis or love golf or love classical music or love Bach. Um, that love has to be there. It has to come from a different place. You don't choose to love the truth. Somehow that is a gift that is gifted to you. To loving the truth, the love for truth is a gift from beyond. It's a gift from God. It's a gift from the absolute. So it's really important to recognize that gift and to honor that gift. Honor that gift meaning to live your appreciation for what has been gifted to you and not disregard it. So yes, you could, come to satsang and, have a little experience and then forget about it. But you you can think that that's what is happening, but in fact you have no choice about what is happening. You come to satsang out of your interest and out of your love for truth. So it is your interest and your love for truth that brings you here, that brings you to explore, that brings you to ask the questions. So the practice, if any, because you could refer to being in satsang as a practice. I am attending satsang as a practice. For example, you could say that at some level. But what you're actually doing is living your love. It's really important that you do things, that whatever you do, if you want to call it a practice, is fine. You do it out of your passion, out of your love, out of your interest. Because if you do it for out of any other reason, for personal gain, it will not deliver, and you will not have the stamina to stay with it. There are people who go and they golf for a week, 10, 12 hours a day, they play golf because they love it. They have a passion for the swing, for, I don't know, for the walking on the green and being with friends and playing together. They have a passion for that, and they have a passion for the art, so they can spend hours and hours without tiring. So you could call that they're practicing, but in fact, why call it practice? I mean, it's love. They're living their love. So your love for truth is what guides the contemplation. When I use the term contemplation, it's basically an interest. It's an interest in truth. There is an interest that I have for truth. And because I'm interested, I seek the company of people who share this interest. And out of that shared interest, there is sort of a rubbing of elbows and a certain maturing that happens, a certain growth that happens. So if a practice arises for you out of your passion for truth, then go ahead. But I would not call it a practice. A practice usually is referred to as sort of like a routine activity that you do in order to improve yourself or in order to polish yourself. It has a certain automaticity to it and a certain mechanistic aspect to it. Now, there are many teachers that prescribe a practice. For example, in the whole Zen tradition, they recommend sitting zazen, being in silent sitting, watching your thoughts. Now, if that speaks to you and that it comes to you from, it's a path in your life where this is what resonates for you. If this is what resonates for you at that moment, then this is what your love is for at that moment. It will take you wherever it will take you. Now, in my sharing with friends, I just share the direct pointing. It's a direct pointing that is not based on any practice, because you do not need to practice what you already are. You already are this aware presence. If you turn your attention right now to this open space that hears these words, it will reveal itself to you. because it is intimately what you are. So, yes, some people can come to satsang and then go back to their daily life and go back into the mind, into the person. But they will not find the happiness in the person. And they will return to satsang. Because in satsang there is no person. Satsang is like a small sample of reality, if you want to use that way of speaking. Satsang is a placeless place, and the personless, there are no persons in satsang, it's just pure presence. So when you go back to the world of me and you are going back to the unhappiness. It is inevitable to experience unhappiness when there is a separate self, because the separate self is made out of resistance and seeking. And we cannot tolerate unhappiness. So we look around and we are given, let's say, a practice. We grab onto this practice because we believe that this practice will save me. But when you grab onto a practice from a personal self, you're trying to help yourself as a person. You're just maintaining the person, because it is the person that is practicing in order to improve herself or himself. This practice is the long path, because you will hold on to this practice and you will repeat it for years and years and years, until at some point you realize that that's just the self maintaining itself, the separate self maintaining itself. And then in that understanding, in that moment of understanding, your entire practice shifts. It changes from being a person practicing to just pure presence. So it's a process of erosion. This is a process of erosion through practice. In other words, you're practicing in order to arrive to the end of practice, to non-practice. So coming to satsang has two different dimensions. One dimension is at the mind level, the questions that are being addressed, the words that are being uttered, and what they are pointing to, and where they're coming from. The other aspect of satsang is just being in presence, right here, right now, being in presence. Presence meaning the absence of the self, of the personal self. And there is no better teaching than experiencing consciousness. Like when you are curious about the taste of the salt, the ocean. You've never tasted the ocean. The best way for you to satisfy your curiosity is to actually go to the ocean, dip your fingers in the ocean and taste the water. So in satsang, you're tasting the water, you're bathing in presence. And it is this bathing in presence that is deeply transforming.
No, I agree, Magdi. But I think that not all practices are the same. I mean, like practices for personal um, benefit are the practices which you do regularly to have a goal in life, to feel better or whatever. There are practices where you look for who you really are, and that this is not
Yeah,
a personal
right.
practice. It's
Yes,
just,
I understand. Yeah, but I don't refer that to that as practice. I refer to that as just as a deep interest, Gonzalo. When you have a deep interest, it's more of a passion, and so you find that okay, the more I recollect uh, the the words of my friend or my teacher or something that I read, the more I recollect those words, the the more I come to the experience of presence. Yes, it's very lovely to do that. Or you could call it a practice. Um, yeah. So
unless,
sorry. Yes, Gonzalo.
unless you refer to being out of suffering as getting some benefit at the personal level.
Well, there is really no personal level. I mean, it's the personal level is an imagined level. There are no there are no real. It's a dream level of improving and losing ground.
But the,
It's you could say that the experience of peace becomes more and more available, more and more frequent, and of longer duration. But this does not mean that this is a personal experience.
right.
It's just sort of a noticing that, oh, there is more peace. There's more peace in, you could say, in my life. But it doesn't refer to a person. It's just an observation, like you're observing the weather. Gee, the weather is changing. It looks like it's getting more and more less rain, or more and more dry. It's at that level. It's not accompanied with, oh yeah, how great I am, or that may occur too, and that's the ignorance part of it.
Yeah.
That's the me part of it. But that could occur or not. They're two uh, separate matters. Yeah, there there can be, as a result of your contemplation, and certain types of contemplation that speak to you, that resonate for you. Maybe some readings, maybe uh, some silent sitting, maybe being in satsang, maybe going for walks in nature, whatever. There are many, it's whatever resonates for you that reminds you of God, reminds you of the presence, that not just reminds you intellectually, but sort of brings you to that experience that you already know, which is the experience of the causeless peace and the unperturbed presence. And that can, yes, it can unfold and become more and more prevalent in your life. And it's very beautiful as that process is
Yes.
unfolding.
When you talk about to be thankful for the love for truth, there is no personal. I mean, it's something that is given. It's like a grace or whatever, and that is also giving thanks to the sufferers. Life, we wouldn't be looking for something out of suffering. I mean,
Well, the
we would
suffering
take
part.
us take us to look for something if there wasn't suffering. the suffering of separation, the suffering of being apart from reality, the suffering
Yeah,
of a me
sure.
that feels incomplete. All this is what bring us to look for the truth, what you call love for the truth. So we
Yeah,
can give
it's
thanks to that.
well, there, you know, yeah, yeah. There, on one hand, suffering is um, sort of reminds us, just to explore in order to get beyond the suffering. That's, one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that deep down within our being, we know freedom, we know peace, we know happiness. And so there is also not just an avoidance of suffering or wanting to be free of suffering, not an avoidance. I mean, only the exploration that is inspired by our desire for freedom from suffering, but also there is an inherent recognition of that is untouched by world events, by mind events, by body events, and is that is a deeper calling. Well, let's say that's also a calling, a consciousness calling itself to itself.
Yes, yes, because in that recognition, as you say, of times that we feel that we are peace, that we are consciousness, in those times, what comes out is the wish to permanently abide in that. I mean, and not just for some moments.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, none of us really wants a half-baked revelation. We all know and want the full revelation, and we might stop along the way and play a game of, imagining an interim revelation to be the full revelation, but in the long run, we're just going to keep on going. We're going to keep on going until we are fully abiding as the self. That means complete freedom from suffering.
And and this process is something unavoidable. I mean, like if it is
Yes,
coming from our real nature, our source.
absolutely. It's unavoidable. It's just that you can take the long path and take, 5,000 lifetimes, or you can take a short time and do it in 500 lifetimes.
Yes, and I think that if we who are sharing this, we come somehow to the point that we want to now, no
Yes,
tomorrow, right?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So in terms of practice, Gonzalo, if you go directly right now to your experience, what is missing from your experience right now?
It's just more like something in the mind that says, when this is over, I come back again to the same game.
Yeah, but your experience right now, Gonzalo, in your experience right now, is there such a thing as a next moment?
No, this is all there is, just now.
So what is the meaning of come back when you say come back?
When I say come back, it's like referring to the past, referring to yesterday, to the day before yesterday, in the memory, that there were moments that it was not so clear that this is all there is, because there were so many
Yeah,
imagination in the past and in the future that it is lost. It's
yeah,
not so in the moment.
but you know the past is that's it. I mean, you can let it go. You can let it completely go.
Yeah, and those moments are there when there are thoughts about the past, and they are just witness as
Yeah, yeah,
thoughts, or
right,
there are
but
thoughts about the future, and they are just witness.
right.
And
But you
what
say all thoughts, no matter what thoughts arise, they don't touch consciousness. They don't touch you,
no,
right?
they are just at the level of the mind,
Right. But they don't
and
touch you because you're not the mind.
they are being recognized by me,
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're untouched by what you recognize. You could look at a rainy day or at a sunny day. You're not touched. You could look at a thought about a mountain or a thought about New York City. You're untouched. The thoughts, whatever arises to you, doesn't touch you. You're untouched. You're unmoved. You are complete presence. Is complete, untouched, untainted, unstained presence.
I guess this is the point, that this being aware, this being aware, this awareness of being conscious, uh, seems that you need to do something to make it permanent, clear, or more vivid, or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean that's at the mind level that lives in me in time, me in time. So I have to make something permanent. And as soon as the mind gets on board and says, I need to make something permanent, there is a me, there is a task, there is time, there is a goal, but all of these things are like thoughts and sensations. It's like, and as a result of this type of thinking, the eternity of consciousness seems to be some kind of object that you need to get in 5 years, or do you need to get through a certain practice. It's a trick. It's a mirror. It's a game of mirrors. It's a reflection of a mirror. There isn't any real place to go. It's just an image in the mirror that's saying, yes, work harder and you will get there. Because if you really look at what you just said and you contemplate that, you will notice that there are like thoughts that are believed, which means that you're feeling, you're emoting. These thoughts are thoughts and bodily sensations. Convincing thoughts, meaning they've been embodied. But all of these thoughts and the sensations, they don't affect consciousness. You take any thought, which is really beautiful. You can always experiment with that in the moment. You can take any thought that's arising on the screen, or any sensation that's arising on the screen, and you go to it. And as you go to it, you go right through it. It's like it dissolves. There is nothing. There is nothing there, and you're actually not going anywhere. It's not like when I say going to it, it's like you're going somewhere. You're not going anywhere. It sort
So
of it dissolves in you. It dissolves in presence.
right, it's just that when these thoughts, feelings, sensations sometimes are embodied so strong that there is a real sensation. There is like it seems that there is a losing of consciousness,
Yes.
because there is so much mind, so much mentation there, that the awareness is no more there. I mean, it's not like there is like awareness looking at all these things that are happening, but more like the only real thing is all these mentations, all these feelings, all these sensations, and there is lost in that.
Right, absolutely. Like when you are dreaming that that you are swimming and drowning, and you're trying really hard to swim and swim, and you're getting tired, and you're running out of strength, and you know the water is very choppy. It it feels and seems to be very, very real. Something is happening to you. It feels as if something is happening to you. You being this person in the water that's drowning, that's about to drown, and it seems to be very, very, very real from that perspective. Yes, but there is another perspective. There is another perspective, which is where you're not in the water, you're not swimming at all, you're not in the water at all, you're dreaming this dream. There is another, there is a there is a different perspective that is not touched by that image. And that perspective is the perspective that is perceiving this image, that is dreaming this dream. There is something that is hearing these words right now, that is perceiving this perception right now.
Yeah. Yes, it's simple. It's more simple now. In those moments, that's what I was telling you about a practice. Like for example, who is having all these sensations, all these problems, all these thoughts? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
me. Okay, who am I?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I really?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that brings me to a place where this is looked at and not being so much into all this
Yes.
drama and all this.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I was referring to a practice. Or for
Okay.
example, in
Sure.
daily life, you just question who is really perceiving this. I mean, like
Yes. Yes.
consciousness. What is consciousness? Who is consciousness? Well, consciousness. That's what
Absolutely.
I am.
Absolutely.
Consciousness, right?
Absolutely. Sure. Sure.
That's
These practices, Gonzalo, if obviously they seem to be practices that really resonate for you. That's beautiful, because they bring you out of the water where you are swimming and drowning and running out of breath. They bring you to presence. They bring you to the place that is not touched by the choppy water. It brings you to a place that where you're not drowning.
yes, because I find that um hope for, well, it's just, yeah, it's just mine. Huh? Hope for a time when everything will be just pure awareness without any without any moment that of trouble. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's seeing clear that this world, as you call it in your post, this world body mind is just a dream, right? But if you a dream, then you are in what you think is reality. So there might be a hope that someday I will see the dream for what it is, just a dream. And then, as
Yeah.
you also say,
Yes.
it becomes a happy
Yes.
dream,
Yeah.
right?
I understand,
But
Gonzalo, but you see,
there is hope, and hope
but you know,
is
why hope is time. I mean, why wait? You know, hope. I mean, hope is a delay tactic. Hope is a delay tactic from the separate self. Uh,
yes,
why wait? I mean, right here, right now, just this moment is not in time. Time arises in this moment. The impression of time is arising in this moment. The impression of space is arising in consciousness, but consciousness is
yeah,
not arising in time. It's not arising in space.
yeah,
So just to really, truly comprehend that and live according to that, meaning that time is your dream,
yeah.
and
Is
you are hoping. So you are giving the dream. You're hoping that meaning you get something in the dream. So how? Let's say that you dream that you won $1 million. Okay, you You're hoping you win the lottery. In your dream, you win $1 million. But when you wake up, Gonzalo, you only have $100. You see, whatever you had in your wallet, you did not actually get $1 million. So why do you hope so much that you get $1 million in your dream?
I
The
guess
only you know, because you
I
still
guess
considering you
it's
still
because there is no enough clarity. I mean, there is no in that moment there is no enough clarity of what time means. Time is something that appears in consciousness, as you say. In that moment of being lost, that is not clear. So there
correct.
is right.
Correct. Yes, correct. At the time, when the impression of time and the impression of me in time is real, then that's what's happening. But that's not what's happening right now, you see. And what matters is right
Happening now.
now. Right now, this moment is not in time. Time is in this moment, but this moment is not in time. Right now, you are not in time. Time is in you as an impression, as a thought, as a feeling, as whatever. But you are not in time.
Magdi.
Very good. Thank you,
Yes,
Magdi. I
okay,
will
Gonzalo. Okay,
try
Gonzalo.
to other
Okay.
people because I'm getting
Okay,
all the time
Gonzalo.
here. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Gonzalo. Hello, Dolores.
Hi, Magdi.
Yes,
So
Dolores.
I have a question. Okay, so maybe about a year and a half ago, I think I got feedback or something. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
Okay, about a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have understood what you're saying about I'm presence, right? So this morning I'm driving along going to the gym and I got frustrated because someone was driving very slow. And I mean what I recognize is when I think, that's when I suffer. When I think, and I do recognize that I can do things without thinking. I can still perform without thinking. But so, but like this morning, when the person was going too slow and I got frustrated, or I get a bad evaluation at work, then I go into thinking. So what, are you saying the only thing that you do is just when you recognize that you're thinking,
No, Dolores. No, the thought arises innocently. Thought arises impersonally. It's completely impersonal. What creates the unhappiness is not the thought, but it is the me separating myself. There is a me and another. When there is a me and another, or a me and a better me, or a me and a worse me, when there is a separation, then there is, oh, why did he do that to me? Why is he or is she driving too slow? Darn it, it's 8 o'clock, everybody's rushing to work, and this person is like, on vacation. Why don't they go to the Bahamas and go to Hawaii and leave us alone so we can get to work? And darn it, there should be some kind of patrol, slow people patrol that picks up these people off the street and takes them to the Bahamas and leave us alone so we can get to work. You see, so that's where the unhappiness is a me and another. And then the mind sort of grabs onto this me and the other, and it gets involved into what I refer to and other people refer to as the I thought, not just thought, because thought is, right now we're using thought to communicate and using language, which there is a certain quality of thought, a certain degree of thought in that, and it's all very, very beautiful, very lovely, and there isn't an unhappiness in thought. So it's the I thought. Whenever you, Dolores, imagine yourself at that moment, or refer to yourself via your identification as a woman, as Dolores, as a me, this person driving this car, and this other person is this other person driving this car. That's when there is the suffering. The fact is, Dolores, you need to contemplate that you never drive a car. When you're driving, you're not driving. You are not driving. Driving is occurring within you. An experience that we refer to as driving is unfolding within you. 495 or 95 North or whatever street, the image, the trees, the car are arising within you. They're arising in you, in your space. And they're all what arises in your space, like this perception right now, Dolores, is arising in you, is how far, how distant, what is the distance between this perception and you right now, Dolores? There's zero distance.
Zero, yeah.
There is no distance between you and this perception. There is no distance, right? So
right.
When there is no distance, means zero distance means they're one and the same. Zero distance means they're not two, they're one. So in other words, this other that you're perceiving is made out of you. It is you. You. That same consciousness. When you are dreaming that you are walking on the beach, on Long Beach somewhere, yes? The beach and you and the sensation of the water on your feet and the sun shining on you and the wind blowing in your face and the sound of the waves, all of that is made out of you, the dreamer, yes? So
yeah.
this is an important contemplation, Dolores, that whatever you're experiencing is made out of you. There is no other. Whenever the impression that there is another, you sort of have taken a part of yourself, as if you could. You cannot take a part of yourself, but it's as if you're taking part of yourself and projected it out there and said, well, that's not me.
I mean, I know that is really, I hate to say, I understand what you're saying. It's so different from my conditioning, I guess. But
okay, I understand. Yes, of course. This contemplation is a revolutionary. It's a deep drilling. It's a deep exploration that is going to change everything in your experience. Because if your experience does not change deeply, at the deep level, it is going to continue in the same Dolores in time and space and getting, what she gets, then not getting it, getting older, getting healthier, getting this, getting that. There has to be a deep transformation. So yes, when you contemplate consciousness, it's a radical shift from giving reality to the world, body, mind, and realizing that the reality does not belong to the world, body, mind. It belongs to consciousness. It belongs to consciousness. And this consciousness, when I say consciousness, it is whatever it is that is truly perceiving this perception right now, Dolores. This perception requires consciousness for it to be perceived, because without consciousness, this perception means nothing. Consciousness is the key link for all perceptions, all experiences, the key hinge for all experiences. And so consciousness is what is real in your experience, not the image that's arising on the screen. It is consciousness that is real. And this consciousness, Dolores, is you. Not you, the woman. You, consciousness.
I understand what you're saying about it's a really deep dive, because from where I was 2 years ago to where I am now, it's been kind of a major shift in even contemplating this type of stuff. So,
Yeah.
right, it is a deep, deep dive.
Yes. Well, you know, if you consider the alternative, Dolores, the alternative is pretty miserable.
But
I didn't hear that, Dolores.
absolutely, like this morning, screaming at the driver.
Yes, yes.
This morning, screaming at the driver.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, absolutely. So notice that the thought is not a culprit, Dolores. Do not vilify thought. Instead, notice that whenever there is unhappiness, there is a Dolores and somebody else. There has been a separation. Dolores has separated itself as a real person. Now there is a real person named Dolores, and the real another named whatever, you know. So there's been this sort of this separation, and as soon as there is a separation, there is conflict. So contemplate that consciousness, what you truly are, is whole, is wholeness. You cannot separate the ocean. You can take a line and draw a line in the ocean. It's still this one ocean.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I thought it was just thought that was it. Thank you.
No, yeah, it's right. Just notice, pay attention more to the I thought, and also more than the I thought, also the me sensation. You know, I sense it in my body. They cut me off, or they're too slow. I feel it. This is a me sense. Now, this me sense, Dolores, is also like thought, but it's more thicker than thought. It's more denser than thought. It's closer than thought. It's the molecules and the atoms of sensations are bigger, and they dance with much more heat, with much more velocity than thought. But it's still an experience that you are not. You are not the me sense, the sensation. It's the sense of me is just made out of bodily sensation and thought. Whatever you perceive cannot reveal anything about you. Whatever is perceived cannot reveal anything about the perceiver, about what perceives it. Only the perceiver can know itself, not through a perception, but directly. It's a direct knowingness, a direct revelation that I am, and I am consciousness. And this consciousness is not personal, is not contained in any form, is not limited by anything.
Magdi?
Yes,
Hey, it's Lee. How are you?
Lee, very well. Good to see you, Lee. Hello.
Nice to be here.
Yes,
I have a
yes.
question.
Yeah.
It seems like, the more set song I go to and the love of truth I have, the more and more aware of the tricks the me has for keeping me out of the moment and keeping me dissatisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like every single moment it wants something different at this point. It's like I'm noticing that like nothing is ever the me is never satisfied at all, and it seems to either I'm more aware of it or the energy of it seems to even escalate a little bit here and there.
Right, right.
And I'm just wondering, what I guess what I
Mm-hmm.
should do with that.
Yeah. So, Lee, rather than simply noticing the I thought, the me thought, the thought that wants something, the desirous energy, notice the gap between thoughts.
Okay.
Notice that gap. There has to be a gap between thought A and thought B,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise it would be one thought. So there is a gap between thought A and thought B. Turn your attention to that. And
Okay.
also there has to be a background for any thing, any form to appear. Like, for example, the clouds appear in the space of the sky, what we refer to as the sky. An image appears on the screen. The ripples appears on the surface of the lake or the pond, on the pond. So contemplate the background
Okay.
of those those desirous, this tendency of the mind to constantly be looking at wanting something. So go to the background and then notice that this background is actually the foreground. Like right now, for example, this image that seems to be the foreground is actually the background of awareness. There is awareness, presence, the screen, I. That's non-phenomenal. And then there is the image that's we refer to as phenomenal. But the primacy is to consciousness, meaning that foreground is primal and the image is secondary. Now, having said that, then you can contemplate that the primary and the secondary are at zero distance from each other. In other words, when you go to touch the screen, when you go to touch the image, you're touching. When you're touching, you're just touching yourself. You're going to your own experience. Wherever you go, if you go to a perception, you're going to your own experience. When you go to a sensation, touch your leg right now. When you touch your leg, you're going to your own experience. Right? You're always going to your own experience. So your experience is of the sensation, for example, what we refer to as my leg. That sensation is at zero distance from you. You're experiencing yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Everything. Yeah. I can kind of get a sense of that because everything everything is arising here. I mean,
Yes.
there's no separation. Everything I'm seeing is me. Every thought I have about somebody else is my thought.
Yes.
All my feelings about things are me, and I'm seeing that very clearly. And I think that's good advice that you gave me, because yes, I do notice. I'm noticing more of the me. I guess, being dissatisfied or yelling out or whatever it's doing. But I do, now that you mention it, I know that there is space between those me thoughts as well. So I'll keep
Yes.
focusing on that.
Yes. 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 When you are just noticing the separate self, arising, and again another me and me and me and me
Mhm.
arising, there is also hidden within this noticing this desire of wanting it different. And
Yeah.
this desire of wanting it different is a mixed desire. It's a desire for happiness, which is beautiful, but it also has a personal quality. I mean, why is this still happening to me? When will I, get it? And I thought last week it wasn't like that. Now it's getting worse. There is this. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's a mixed interest. So without exerting yourself, just
Yeah.
with a simplicity, with a certain grace, just also invite, as we said, like noticing that that's not all what's happening. There's also space. There's also space between thoughts, and there's also space within thought, which are referred to as the background or the forward. It's actually the foreground. It's all made out of space. So space, whatever form space takes, it's still space. You see, like if a cloud takes the shape of an angel or the shape of a dragon, who cares? When we were kids, we used to lie down on the grass and watch the clouds, and sometimes we would see an elephant, sometimes we see a dragon, sometimes we see birds. It was all amusing.
Yeah. We didn't care what showed up.
Absolutely, because it's all made out of space. It's
We
all
were actually interested and curious about what would show up.
yes, absolutely. And then watching the clouds move, it's really fascinating. So, but now it's like we're watching and we're going, oh no, oh God, no, a dragon, an elephant. I don't want an elephant. We need. I thought I was done with elephants, and then I thought now it's going to be angels. God, I mean, it's a self-afflicted, unnecessary aggravation.
Yep. So just notice the me and its resistance to the clouds, and then also notice in between the space of that without too much effort.
Yeah.
And just kind of let it all just be.
And it is all made out of space.
Right.
It's all made out of space. This entire conversation, this perception, the sensation, your question, my answer, my talking, you're itching your leg, it's all made out of space. It's all made out of pure awareness, pure emptiness, pure spaciousness.
Perfect.
And the me, the me is 100% space.
Yeah, the me's okay too.
Complete space.
It's like a cloud.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fire-spitting dragon cloud.
Right. We can't really stop those clouds from coming in, even if we tried.
Right. But we can have a good time. We can enjoy. We can enjoy.
We can change our perspective of it.
Absolutely, we can enjoy. We can just be this. Receive the gift that we're given, which is the gift of love and beauty and wisdom and joy and intelligence and humor and compassion and empathy. Just given.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Lee. Good to see you.
Magdi. Oh.
Yes.
You hear? This is Ananda.
Hello, Ananda.
I'm using a little handheld device, and I'm amazed that it even works.
Yes, well, I hear you very clear.
Good. I wonder sometimes about if, say, a war came into our neighborhood, and snipers on the rooftops and that sort of thing. What about this life is a beautiful dream sort of ethos that you talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not arguing that it would be bad if that happened. You know what I mean? That consciousness would be in distress. I don't see how consciousness itself can be in distress. But I'm not sure what the question is there.
Yeah. Well, there is no doubt that it would be pretty bad at the body-mind level. The food, shelter, and clothing situation will be so at the body-mind level. It will be quite disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
So would an earthquake or a volcanic eruption or a car wreck where you're in it.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it could be a war, of course. It could be sometimes, losing, a family member, might feel very, very disastrous, or stock market collapse, and your entire savings, are eliminated in a flash. So, but nothing occurs to consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens to consciousness. So the mind creates these scenarios and says, okay, well, what if like somebody, comes and, takes away all your possessions, Well, okay. I mean, okay. Nothing happens to consciousness. Well, what if your health, what if your body just starts deteriorating? Well, nothing happens to consciousness. The body is deteriorating every minute, every second. Well, in the grand scheme of things. So it's really important to be very clear about what you truly are. And it's only the clarity, that very deep, unshakable understanding that's lived, has permeated your entire body-mind, that will give you the real answer to your question.
Yes.
Because the question to your answer will be your experience, will be your lived experience. So right now, what you truly are is this conscious awareness that hears these words. This perception is arising effortlessly in the open space of presence. And that open space of presence is what you are. You are perceiving this perception. And this perception might seem limited, but the you that perceives this perception, going to your experience, going to the real experience, whatever it is that's perceiving this perception right now, because this perception is being perceived right now. It's not nothing. That, whatever it is that perceives this perception right now, is not a body-mind, is not limited. A body-mind is a sensation, is a set of sensations, thoughts and sensations, you see, that's arising to you. But in your deep sleep, all these thoughts and sensations, the entire ananda is dissolved into pure nothingness, yes? And arises again in the waking state, yes?
Right.
So go directly right now to the reality that perceives this perception. And notice that this reality is not a phenomenal reality that you cannot cut it with a scissor. You can maybe scratch your arm, do something to the skin, to the arm, but the awareness, the consciousness that you are, that perceives this perception, that you cannot make it wet, you cannot dry it, you cannot cut it, you cannot make it grow, you cannot start it or end it. Yes?
Right.
So contemplate that, contemplate that is untouched and unmoved and unstirred and unscathed in your experience. Contemplate that and recognize that that is what we refer to as I.
Your voice. I don't know if other people heard it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Ananda. What did you say?
Your voice just dropped out.
Oh,
Actually, the picture froze as well.
okay.
I don't know if that was true for others or just me, but
I don't know. Is my voice dropping out for others?
No, it seemed good here.
Okay. It could be just a temporary, glitch between our connection, Ananda. I was having a little bit of that glitch also with Gonzalo previously. So I was just inviting you to contemplate that is untouched and unmoved and unstirred and unscathed by whatever is appearing on the screen.
yes,
And to recognize that as what we refer to as I.
yes. I have another kind of funny thing I want to say, and that is when you were talking with Gonzalo, and he was dreaming of the $1 million in your.
Yes, in my metaphor. Yes.
Yes. Well, it occurred to me that he has $1 million in his wallet. Therefore, dreaming of the $1 million and hoping for it is kind of redundant.
Yes, that's often a metaphor used, in the, in the Dharma, that you live by a huge lake and you're dying of thirst, something like that.
Yes, or you're the king and you think you're the
right,
pauper.
The pauper. Yes. Yeah, in real terms, putting it in a different lingo, that what I truly am is not any object, any form. What I truly am is that freedom, that beauty, that happiness, the limitless and eternal consciousness, universal. I already am that. I am that. We already am that. And just to sort of notice that is what hears these words. That is what speaks these words. That is what perceives all perceptions. I am the dreamer of all dreams. You notice that directly in your experience, that you are the perceiver of all perceptions. You perceive a tree, but you are not a tree. You perceive a sensation, but you're not a sensation. You perceive a male experience, but you're not a male experience. You perceive a female experience, but you are not a female experience.
Okay, one little switch of subject. Sometimes I talk to people who say, you seem to be avoiding the human, the richness of being human. You're denying that there's suffering or that things can really go wrong. And I'm feeling pretty much that I'm honest, that I'm not buying that anymore. That's a necessary part of the human portfolio of emotions.
Well, Ananda, if somebody is standing on your toe, on your foot,
Yes.
You're gonna, you're gonna say, excuse me, do you mind, you're standing on my foot, and they'll say, oh, excuse me, and then get off your foot. Or they might say, well, so what? I don't care about your toe. And then you're gonna say, well, I care about my toe, and you're gonna push him out of, off your foot, so you don't get your toe hurt.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
if you're hungry, you're gonna say, oh no, I am beyond hunger. I do not eat hunger, and so on. After 3 hours or 4 hours or 2 days, if you're really strong-willed, you'll be out there in line trying to buy the next tofu burger that's available so
Yes.
this whole thing about avoiding your humanity is a pseudo spiritual lingo that I don't buy. Basically,
Exactly.
what the people who tell you that, they're trying to tell you the following. They're trying to tell you, listen, you're feeling all these feelings, why don't you wallow in those feelings? Feel those feelings, experience those feelings. You're feeling shitty and miserable? Well, feel shitty and miserable. You're feeling like suicidal? Well, feel suicidal. You're feeling, depressed and totally crazy? Well, feel depressed and totally crazy. What they mean is that, that unhappiness and misery is okay. But no, you know what? Unhappiness and misery is not okay. Unhappiness and misery is unhappiness and misery. What is okay and very lovely is happiness.
Right.
These people, they don't understand that happiness. They have not realized happiness. They still, maybe they had a taste of happiness, but they still have quite a bit of unhappiness and ignorance in their life. And as a result, because they do not realize that they're not fully there yet, that they still need to continue their contemplation, for whatever reason, they've decided that, oh, okay, well, this is it. Okay, so you have a little bit of happiness, and then you have unhappiness, or you have so-so, half-half, and that's it. Well, you know what? I'm not buying it. I am going for the full happiness, which I know is my experience, which I know it to. I know that is what the revelation is, and that is what I speak. I do not speak of half. You're half of the time rolling up, and then the other half you're rolling down. Now, so the people who have not experienced happiness, who cannot teach it and cannot speak of it. So they speak of, okay, well, you know what? We're all enlightened, but we're unhappy. So just feel your unhappiness.
Yes. Or saying that it's all of an equal.
No.
One reality includes all this, so why avoid something that's actually part of reality?
No. If you are dreaming that you are drowning, okay, and you're feeling like really awfully miserable, okay, because you're drowning and nobody's coming to help you, and somebody tells you, hello, you know what? Get into that feeling, experience that feeling. These are people that don't understand that you're not drowning, and they don't know how to wake you up. They don't know how to tap you on the shoulder and tell you, hey, Ananda, hey, it's all right, man. Come on, get up, let's have a cup of tea.
Yes.
They don't know how to do that. So they tell you, oh, you know what? Oh, you're feeling that the lion is chasing you? Well, run and experience your heart pounding. Experience the roar of the lion. Experience, oh, it bit you in your leg. Experience the pain of your leg. Oh, it's took off your leg? Well, experience the loss of your leg.
No, I get it. Yes.
No.
Listen, and I think
there is no sense having conversations with people like that, because some people, they're just stuck into this middle path, the middle way. They're stuck somewhere on some sort of plateau, and they're just happy being on that plateau, and they want to sell on that plateau also for trinkets. And I'm not buying any trinkets. Okay,
No.
I don't need them.
Yes, I appreciate that. This is a good corroboration of how I how I see it. I appreciate your humor as well. Thank you.
It's too funny. Yeah, it's too funny. There are piles and piles of people that are speaking that lingo. Piles. Yeah. And it's the reason why we come upon people like that is because through the web and through the technology, we're interconnected. So that's what happens, and it's good to see that, but it's very, very important in your path to not settle for any halfway point, for any compromise. No compromise. Freedom does not mean freedom except this and that. Happiness does not mean happiness except this or that.
Yes.
Joy, bliss does not mean joy, bliss, but also no, it does not.
Beautiful. And it seems to me there are a huge number of people in the beginning stage of waking up in some way, and they want to, I don't know, there's just like almost a susceptibility to such a teaching, because it seems to evoke a little bit of greater freedom and spaciousness, but it's still so rooted in the psychological.
Yeah, right. There is all sorts of motivations why people are on the spiritual path, or at different phases, let's say, of the spiritual path.
Yes.
It could be that we need a group. We need to feel like a belonging, or want to feel that we're righteous. We're right in our pack practice. We're accepted, by the guru, by the group, by the teacher, and there are all sorts of psychologies and motivations that arise along the way, and many teachers, not knowing better, even exploit that, or some might even know better and exploit that. But what matters is the student, not the teacher. What matters is what is it that you truly love? What is it that you truly love? And to really follow what resonates deeply within you. There is a recognition that you feel in your heart that is beyond any language, beyond any argument.
Yes, thanks. That's great.
Doesn't what you just talked about have a little bit connection with the allowing thing, though, Magdi?
Say some more, Lee.
Remember we spoke once about how awareness allows. Mm-hmm. The me doesn't really allow anything.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And then what you guys talked about, negative emotions or whatnot. I mean, I'm not into. Yeah. Buy into that whole theory either, but this connects kind of with the allowing. Allowing.
Right. So that's a good point you're making, Lee, here. So when I talk about this tendency to wallow in your emotions, experience your emotions and enjoy your emotions and celebrate your emotions and glorify your humanity and be a fully human and embody yourself as a human. I'm talking about that turning a certain thought and bodily sensation into religion.
Okay.
Yeah, there can be contractions. There are like, what we refer to negative emotions would be like, it's a contraction, it's a contraction of, we refer to it sometimes as fear, envy, jealousy, or whatever. But basically, when sometimes I refer to allowing, it's more a recognition. It's a recognition that what is arising is already there on the screen and has no borders to it. Has no borders to it. You recognize it. You recognize, first it might start by recognizing the psychology. Oh, I'm afraid. Or I'm jealous, or I'm angry. But then we bring it to noticing where the sensation is arising in your body. So you turn your attention from the psychology, meaning from the mentation, to the physiology, to the cosmic body. What is this? Let me experience the sensation in the body. Meaning to locate it, not to, let me experience the emotion and feel the fullness of the emotion and celebrate the emotion and recognize my humanity. No, that's not what I'm referring to.
Okay.
I refer to locating the sensation in your body. Usually it is specific location or not. It could be just a general me sensation in the body, general contraction we refer to as fear or whatever. And be still, to come to the stillness of noticing. There is a stillness about noticing. And
absolutely. That's more, to me, that's more of a an absolving of the me and the me emotions as opposed to celebrating them. It's more that practice you just described gets you to the awareness, even though you supposedly feeling your feelings, you're not doing it with all the mental commentary and the embrace. It's just, it kind of transitions from a different what originally was.
Yes. It might start with a mental commentary, but it's really important not to continue in the mental commentary, but to bring it to the physiology, to bring it to the stillness of presence, and allow this sensation or this psychology to reveal its true face as an impersonal sensation.
That's exactly what I find. So I'm glad you clarified that. I was a little confused, but I thought I knew what you were referring to, but I just wanted to get that clear, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also noticing that this sensation is not just impersonal, but it's also unbound.
Yeah. The more I just sit with it and without the commentary, those more and more is revealed about it in that aspect.
Yes, but we're not trying to understand so much the sensation.
No.
We're just being in presence with a not knowing mind.
It's actually it's actually less understanding. It gets more and more of a mystery when I do it, but I'm okay with that too. It seems a transition, but I'm not going to really analyze it too much.
Yes.
It just seems to transition a little.
Right. What, there is you could say it's all a mystery. It's all a mystery, but there is a sweetness to it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And also there is it's all interconnected, you see.
Monty?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, Liv. Yeah. Hey, Lina.
Hi. I got a lot, the last conversation a little while ago that you were having with Lee on clouds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, something shifted in my body, and I just understood it differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
It was so simple
Yes.
to let go. And a couple of days ago, when a pattern occurred and I didn't follow it,
Mm-hmm.
I just said, "You don't need to follow that."
Right. Yes.
Fast, and it's gone.
If you,
All the body
yes.
aches, all the tension, and it made me laugh.
Yes.
That
Right.
was easy.
Nice. Okay. Good. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Good. That's very nice. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your very lovely company.
Thank you, Magdi.
For your questions
Thank
and your company. And we'll see
Thanks.
you next
Thanks.
time. Be well.
Bye, everybody.
Be safe.
Bye bye, Lou.
Bye. Okay. You're welcome.